Hello and welcome to another edition of RepSense trainings that we're doing live from our office in Vilnius. And for those who are new to our webinars, I would like to remind you that every Wednesday, or every second Wednesday actually, I host a training session. And that's for those who are starting with online reputation management and or recently has joined RepSense. And on a day like today, every second Thursday, we delve deeper into the subject and with the sessions for dedicated professionals looking to advance in online reputation management. Our webinar is being streamed live on RepSense YouTube channel, and this video will be available on our website. But while you're watching this, I would like to invite you to subscribe to our channel to stay updated on about the future events, and also come back to this video after the event in case you miss any part of it or you want to share with your colleagues. Additionally, the video will be posted on our website www.repsense.io. So after the session, if you want to come back to this video or share it with someone, go to the event registration page. It's going to have a video there. We're going to upload it in like 20 minutes after the event. So it will be available for review later on. Maybe you're driving in a car and want to watch it again or missed a part of it. I would like to encourage you to use the chat box and ask questions, or say hi or leave a comment during my presentation. I'll be happy to address them towards the end of the session. And of course, depending on the number of questions we receive, this discussion will take around an hour or so. So without any further ado, let's delve deeper into this topic of today. And let me just change the screens. And what are we going to be talking about today? So I want to talk about techniques that companies use to improve their reputation. And usually, this is the second training after you went through Online Reputation 101. And this Online Reputation 101 training, we talk a lot about how online reputation works. And we try to answer the question, do you agree that your reputation lives in the search box of a search engine? So I want to tell you a little story from last week where I went to an event about reputation index, and the companies were evaluated looking at the opinions of various groups like opinion leaders and decision makers and society as a whole. And the company who would rank higher in overall reputation after they filled out the questionnaire form would have the best reputation index. Simultaneously, RepSense were doing an evaluation of their online reputations, and there was a phenomenon, or as it's been called in the media, the paradox of Girteka, where the big logistics company that has recently went through a public outrage of underpaying the employees and maybe failing to file expenses correctly or using immigrant workers. There was some scandal in the media about that, mostly like YouTube videos. So even though a company was widely condemned, the company's online reputation remains strong. And this has brought a lot of questions whether our algorithm is working correctly. How can this be possible that a company with such a burst of outrage in online and public accusations could maintain a positive reputation image? So although this is a phenomenon that puzzled many, we are not here to judge. We're just basically taking evaluation of what happens online and try to present you the results of what online search results show about your company's reputation. So I want to dive deeper into this today, and after a short introduction, I'm going to be opening the tool and showing you like a walkthrough, a demo, how this all works, that we could analyze the reputation of a company like JP Morgan, for example, that we chose for this instance. And of course, online reputation management is a complex and constantly evolving thing. So, the techniques companies use, they change quite often. Just turn off the sound here so it doesn't bother me. Okay. And, although there are many ways how companies can fail with their reputations with a public outrage or negative review, there is a possibility to successfully mitigate negative publicity by taking swift and decisive actions. And while in some of the cases, the damage may be too severe to repair. So ultimately, the key to effective online reputation is to be proactive rather than reactive. And the companies with proactive, monitoring and going into media and speaking on the topics that maybe were mentioned in a negative light will maintain their reputation for a longer time. And I guess this was exactly what happened with Girtek, a phenomenon that we faced recently. So, when was the last time you looked up how your potential employees or your clients find you? And are you able to track your reputation? And what do you do to measure it? And how you can improve your search visibility? Do you have a strategy for that? Well, most companies don't. But I want to talk to you about 3 things that happened recently that gave us an ability to track reputations. And these are the 3 factors that influence significantly how we can understand reputations and how we can learn more about them. And I think the first factor is the actual growth of use of natural language processing, also called NLP. NLP is a branch of artificial intelligence, and it deals with the way we interact with computers or electronic devices. So using humans' natural language processing, it speaks to the computer and helps us understand them, and also for them to understand us. So with the advancement of NLP technology, it has become easier for us to analyze online content as well and to understand its meaning. NLP has made it possible to develop sophisticated algorithms that can identify and categorize online content with a very high accuracy. Also, explain the meaning of that content and the sentiment that the content is providing. The second factor is quarantine. And I think with COVID-19 and everybody being forced to stay at home for a longer period of time, we reinvented our lives online. From, socializing to working to having webinars like this. So people have been forced to rely on the technology and internet to carry, their daily activities. And it gave a lot of understanding how we can use internet for our purpose. The increased online activity has resulted in an explosion of online content and making internet the main source of information for all of the age groups. So, and then finally the ChatGPT comes in. It's a natural language processing model trained by OpenAI, and that has played a significant role. And also ChatGPT has the ability to process large amounts of data, to analyze the content, and to provide accurate insights. It's also uses the momentum for loads of individual online content to create reputations. And although it has become an invaluable tool for individuals and organizations who are looking to keep track of their online reputations, we at RepSense are also using this a lot, trying to understand the content around the brands and what's being presented there. So, the technology of NLP has developed. People spend more time at home and they use more internet for information. And then ChatGPT comes in that is able to analyze different content. And this all puts us in a position where apps like RepSense can appear and change the way we see brand awareness campaigns and how reputations are built online. And having a positive online reputation is crucial for individuals and businesses, alike. With internet being such a vast and easily accessible space for negative information, especially, or reviews that can harm your reputation in seconds. Today in this presentation, I would like to explore a little bit the strategies, how you can repair your online reputation and build a positive online image. And, when we look at the statistics, we can see that, more than 25% of the company's market value is actually directly attributable to their reputation. And 4 out of 10 companies that have been dealt with the reputation blow have reported a loss of brand value and revenue. Over 86% of consumers were willing to pay more for services from a company with a good reputation. And 4 out of 5 consumers have changed their mind about the purchase decision as a result of a negative review. So reputation is a big factor influencing our businesses. And now the goal is to understand, what people see about us and how our reputation changes the way we do business, and how our reputation impacts the opinions of stakeholders from different categories and groups. And in the fundamentals training of Reputation 101, we talk a lot about this NICE model, or the new understanding how to monitor your online reputation and the effectiveness of your brand awareness campaigns. So when we want to measure the noise, a metric that is good for measuring the noise will be share of voice, or the amount of audience has been reached, or maybe the value or the money that has been spent to advertising comparing to the other brands in your category, also investing in the advertising or public relations activities. And we want to measure the impact of these brand awareness campaigns or publicity. We can look at social media engagements or content engagements or page views if it's an article that has been read. But next to that, we also want to look into the sentiment of what communications it creates. So when somebody reviews, or maybe somebody writes some content about us in the earned media, what is the sentiment about it? And not always journalists will present your own opinion. They will go to the other opinions in the industry. They will present an opinion of their own. So what's not being measured before is the actual interest. So what do people do when they heard some kind of information that impacted them and then made them proactively look for that thing? They will go online, they pick up a phone, they put it in the query in the search box, and they will start looking for you. And this is what we want to measure here is the actual share of search. So how the online activities or campaigns that you conducted for publicity eventually resulted in the interest from the audience that will go online and search for you. So share of search is another metric that becomes very important to understand, what was the effectiveness of these campaigns. And also the discovery view. You want to understand how people find you when they don't know your brand, when they just search for the category and stumble upon your brand and as one of the solutions to their problem. But we also talk about the signal, and I think this is the most important part. When most brand awareness campaigns will probably measure the noise and the impact, none or almost none of them are measuring the interest and the quality of signal you are sending to those potential audiences. So when you want to create a buzz about the new service that you're going to be providing, is there information about that service online that people can find? And can you control that information? Is that on your own page, or maybe on your social media, or on another website you control? So I just wanted to put this heat map on the slides, just to show that you might be measuring only the half of it, but what happens with the other half? And I guess this is a good place for RepSense to come in and try to solve the problem here. But before you can begin repairing your online reputation, it's important also to understand what's already out there. So, go on Google and search for your brand or your business and see what comes up. And of course, look for negative reviews. Look on social media platforms and other content that may be harmful to your business and to your reputation. So before you can begin improving your reputation, you have to know your digital footprint. And then Google will have lots of different kinds of information that they will provide about the business and the search query that's being used. And it's a good resource of information what should be out there and what information can be interesting for potential audiences. And now, I remember in the old days, or before RepSense, or I'm talking like 6-7 years ago, if we wanted to do a SEO analysis, we would analyze the sentiment of that content. So I'm looking for a keyword that's important to me, or maybe even my brand keyword, and I see what comes up in the Google search results. And for us, it would be evaluation like, okay, we would read the article and we say, it's a negative or a positive or maybe a neutral content that mentions our brand. And while going through the search results and analyzing the content, you have to add sentiment. And next thing is to decide, how much influence this content will have on your reputation. So sentiment analysis is also a sort of opinion mining, but you're only mining those opinions from Google search results to see not only what people think of you, but what reputation you might have when people look at the search results and what's already out there. And computers can be a big help analyzing large quantities of data. And tools like RepSense, play a big role in solving this task. So sentiment analysis is also an approach to natural language processing that we previously mentioned as NLP that identifies the emotional tone behind the body of a text. So when we say work on your SEO, and I think this is a very good example, while search engine optimization can help improve your online reputation by optimizing your digital footprint, helping being found and getting more traffic to your website. This includes using relevant keywords and creating content and optimizing your website for search engines as well. But by improving your SEO, you can improve your online visibility as well. And with that comes reputation. So there are a lot of SEO tools online that can help you understand the difficulty to rank high for a particular keyword and the amount of effort that it will take to make it into the first page if you're not there. So a good example for SERP diversity is Google and Google's own product like Google Ads. It's going to be over here. Yeah. So, all of the results are either advertised by Google on Google's platform or on a website that's owned by Google or has links to social media profiles and other earned media with a positive review from a reputable source or a blogger. It also uses a lot of types of rich media like video and something that's highly engaging. It will always be shown high in the search results. So if you don't have a video for your brand or an industry keyword, maybe this is the first takeaway from this presentation to put on your to-do list. What is the video that people find when they search for my brand on YouTube? And maybe I should be there with a video or a story that's going to be in the form of a content that is highly engaging. So when we talk about SEO, most of the time we talk about how can we get traffic to our website. When we talk about SERP engineering, we want to make sure that we control all of the 10 results and maybe more results in the search results to make it a bulletproof reputation. So even if there is a content that's getting momentum, that can rank high in Google search, we have search results that are already ranking high, and it's hard to penetrate our current reputation easily. There are 3 ways to tackle negative search results, and theoretically, by applying different strategies, it's impossible to achieve result in all of the three cases, like deleting information or changing information in the source or pushing negative information down. You can try to delete it through pressure and on the publication, and maybe with the help of lawyers if you have deep pockets, and also serious lawyers as well. But and one of the ways to do it is like cease and desist letter. That you can possibly use arguments like DMCA or GDPR in European Union, or the right to be forgotten. And due to the freedom of speech and expression, these instruments can only be used in very specific situations. This tactic is not always recommended because there are many risks, and if these actions are performed incorrectly, the reputation can be even further damaged, and with that, your relationships with your clients and other business can be damaged too. So I would not recommend going for that, but there's also the possibility to change the information in the source. So maybe if it's an article that's written about you that uses the keywords like your brand and the scandal or another negative mentioning, you have a very high possibility to rank higher with these keywords. So maybe going to a publication and first of all talking to them that, look, we also have an opinion on this subject, we want to express that, and maybe you can push a content to the same source with a little bit less negative light in it. Also, establishing relationships with journalists gives you an opportunity to be heard, for your opinion to be heard. So before they write an article, they will call you and ask you for your comment, and maybe it's necessary for you to comment on that subject, even though maybe it's not the subject you want to be involved as much. Still, having an opinion is better than giving the stage to the negative opinions that will take all of the information in the source. And of course, pushing negative information down in the search results is most likely the most effective strategy. And perhaps also the best way to push information from the source with negative content is, followed by at least several attempts to correct the bad information, as I mentioned in the previous slides. But because there are several different ways to do with what to do within reach for a mature company, bad articles can be outranked with your own websites or some assets on your social media. So for example, placing an article about the situation from your perspective and using similar keywords on your website will give you an opportunity to rank higher with your brand and the keywords that are used in the negative content. Also amplifying it using your other mediums like social media or Wikipedia or LinkedIn and Reddit, Trustpilot, and local review platforms will only give you a better benefit of that. If supported also by public relations activities, these actions can be even more effective. For example, when you send another article with your brand name and the same media that's thinking, we have another angle, a better angle to present the same issue after a certain period of time, the older information will decay and the new content will take its place. So well thought through public relations campaigns can be effective in pushing, down unwanted information, or at least temporarily tackling the problem. So it's important to monitor your online presence regularly. And of course, there are a bunch of tools that can help you keep track of your brand mentions in the media. And you can set up Google Alerts to give you a notification every time your brand is mentioned in Google search results. So that's one way to approach this. In this slide, I'm also showing you a demo of a finance company, a little bit how their brand mention is being monitored on RepSense app. This is from Google News category, how information is displayed, and the main goal of monitoring your brand mention is to be able to identify what's brewing in the media. What's brewing in the media with high authority and potential for the content to be seen by the thousands of people, and also is there content that has a potential to rank high in Google search results, and is it getting momentum? And there might be issues you want to address promptly to prevent them from escalating. So since we are here, and I'm showing a screenshot from the from the app. Why don't we go into the app and have a look in there? So allow me a couple seconds to change my screens, and okay, and this is the demo that should be available. So let's go to it. So hope this is visible for you. If not if numbers or letters are not big enough, leave a comment and I can zoom in, or maybe I can even zoom in right now. Okay. Okay, hopefully this is going to be a bit better. Okay, so many people often ask us how RepSense differs from other online tools such as Ahrefs or SEMrush, or maybe something like social media monitoring tools like Mention or Kantar. And while each of these tools can help with managing your online reputation, the key difference in RepSense lies in the approach and the emphasis of what information is and how it impacts your reputation. And traditional media monitoring tools can help you use these brands, use this as a monitoring tool for your brand, but they won't identify which of these mentions are significant. Similarly, SEO services don't provide insights on the sentiment of your search results. So while social media monitoring can provide a complete picture for your online presentation, RepSense, on the other hand, focuses on what's really important and provides you with valuable and hopefully actionable insights. To illustrate this, let's take two prominent names in the banking sector like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and see what insights RepSense can provide. So we run our model on, let me just switch that. Okay, so we run our model on three different markets. In this case, it's United Kingdom, United States, and Germany. And we want to customize the location as per our customer view on the market. So we want to see how people find the information when they look for you from these countries. So over here, I'm just going to choose one of the companies. In this case, I'm choosing JP Morgan. So we're going to be analyzing them. Okay, so what do we see here? When you log into the app, and first thing you see is an overview section, which acts like a gateway to all of the information. In this case, in the information about the reputation of JP Morgan. And JP Morgan has a score of 52, which is one of the key metrics that reflects how your brand is perceived from various online viewpoints. While 52 is not a bad result, of course there is a room for improvement. The glass is half full. Let's say this. While this metric alone, does not provide a lot of insight, But when we look at the change in this metric, we can see how it impacts how it correlates with the activities that you are doing online. You can also see the score has improved or worsened since the last run, and if it correlates with your public relations activities or something you're doing for SEO or online reputation efforts. A sudden drop in RepSense score usually indicates that something negative has happened, which impacted your Google search results. So conversely, a sudden improvement in the score means that your actions are yielding a positive result as well. So next to RepSense score, we have interest. An interest metric that indicates the number of searches for your brand over a period of last month. This data is on a monthly basis because that's the kind of data we get from Google. But by monitoring your Google search volume, you can see if your marketing efforts are translating into the increased search volume for your brand. So B2B products usually generate fewer searches than B2C products. And in this case, JP Morgan generated around 61,000 searches last month. So it's not a small number. And that's only in the market of United Kingdom. So below, there are also insights. Let me just scroll to them. Okay, you're going to see here, we have a table of insights and comparison also with your competitors. You can monitor as many competitors as you need and learn from their mistakes by understanding their actions and what they have done to be in the Google search results. This insights section provides actionable insights highlighting positive, negative, and neutral values, and shows what your brand is doing well and where improvements can also be made. So next is the search profile for different profile views. We'll just go down to this, and we have all of these employee, first look, investor, customer, and public views. It simulates how different stakeholders are searching information about your brand, and each profile view is made out of different search queries that are assigned, a different score to your profile. This gives you an understanding where you can immediately see how your brand perception is good or where it lacks information. And in JP Morgan's case, we can see that CEO's view is only at 29. It's really worst, and followed by also public and customer views. So let's dig deeper into the detail for every profile. I want to start with the profile for CEO, and down here we're going to have all the search result and the keyword that's being used. Just scroll down a little bit, but to give you visibility. Okay. Okay, so CEO view is made out of a single search query, and that's a company name and the name and the surname of the company's boss, the CEO. And in this case, it's JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon. Usually, when exploring the reputation of a well-known and successful companies, there are certain factors that tend to overlap. When it comes to brand searches, usually a homepage, a LinkedIn, a Wikipedia, and maybe a social media page, that will be on top. And most likely that will be followed by news and business insights. So similarly, searching for CEOs and their business profiles, Wikipedia, LinkedIn will dominate the search page. So this is done on purpose with more high authority assets you have in your search window. It's harder for bad news and low value articles to penetrate these results. This is also a case with JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon. However, it's obvious that there are negative articles in the position 6 and 7 places, and on top of that, articles discusses CEO lies to ties to sex trafficking, which heavily impacts the overall profile score. And generally, this is due to a negative bias. Throughout the evolution process, people learned to react to threats and pay more attention to negativity. Therefore, a single negative result in the first page of Google search will always have a bigger impact on the RepSense index. And that's even though there is a bunch of positive articles. Of course, in such cases, the goal is to move negativity as further away as possible through, a strong existence of new content, perseverance, and maybe exploiting assets that you already have in order to push this narrative. So if you want a control of this SEO view, first of all, you have to deal with this publication in Reuters, which is a news category, and this is the connection between JP Morgan's CEO to Jeffrey Epstein affairs. Next one in line is going to be the first look. Switch to that, or I also have it previously opened here. Okay, so first look is at 64%. So as in real life, the first look is the most important when creating the first impression. And this profile reflects what people find when they search for your brand for the first time. View is made out of a single search query, which is a brand name, and the results should be of the utmost importance for any digital entity that cares about their online reputation. As previously mentioned, first look for all the big brands usually settle in a relative similar manner. First part of search results are populated with a homepage, Wikipedia page. There's also LinkedIn and social media profiles. If the company is publicly listed, some information on the stock will also appear within the first page of the search result. And this is a gold standard for a brand. Companies need to work on their own search engine result pages to make the information clear, active, and engaging. And more search results you own, the harder it is for any kind of negativity to penetrate your first page. Therefore, brands should have their Wikipedia pages and, if possible, an ability to update them. Same goes with social media profiles, and in specific cases, links to Google Pay and maybe Apple Store will always rank higher, for startups and apps like ours. If a brand is prominent in different market, it's worth to consider localizing your content as well. The usefulness of search engine result pages or the ownership of them is evident in JP Morgan's case. We can see that the first 8 results are cemented, making it difficult for any ambiguous news to penetrate this page. And owning your SERP is not a silver bullet, but in cases where there is a lot of bad news or high-profile articles that is shown in a negative light, it might help. The ability to impact the first page assets allows you to be heard and stand out without your own narrative. Meanwhile, RepSense allows you also to easily monitor your search result and track the success of how the strategy on demand in a particular location works, and if that results in a growth of index here. Let me jump further and go to the public view now. Okay, so that's our public view. And public view is ranked at 53%. So public view is important as it imitates the way journalists or researchers work in order to find out more juicy details about your brand or your company. If your companies usually tend to care about the first look and the management profiles, they often forget that the internet keeps everything. This profile is made out of 3 to 5 different search queries depending on the company's profile and their demand, and each of those queries add their part to the total profile score. But we'd have to get them to provide different insights, and in this case I think JP Morgan's profile is made out of 4 queries. So that's going to be JP Morgan's CEO, JP Morgan scandal, JP Morgan social responsibility, and JP Morgan sustainability. Scandal is a perfect way to illustrate the ruthlessness of the internet. Let me just switch to that. Okay, let's wait for it to load. So banking companies as old and prominent as JP Morgan will obviously have bad stories. And some of those impactful will be more impactful than the others. Once these stories get older, the damage gets smaller. But with very few brands that have luxury having a lot of bad press. Sometimes even a single story can distract and affect companies' stock price, revenue, and public image. Therefore, prevention and readiness to paramount, these search results helps us in crisis, and crisis action plans are important. And although it might not be easy, it might be crucial to have your say in SERPs and have your own article which would cover your brand and the scandal keyword. As you see here, there's all of these information. All of these sites will have a negative score. So there's a lawsuit mentioned. There's also fines being paid, letting people off. A founder being accused of $4 million and so on. But there's also positive information as well. So social responsibility and sustainability search queries should always be reflected with the best side of your brand. Therefore, you should never be, have a single page within this Google search result from your company saying that we are socially responsible company. Brand plus any kind of ESG related keyword usually won't receive a lot of competition. So filling the SERP with good stories and showcasing how your brand cares about the world is just a no-brainer. I want to jump to the investor view and have a sip of water while we're loading it. So on the investor view, and in this case, JP Morgan's ranking at 64. And I guess this will be a bit more self-explanatory. Search queries for the specific view mimic the potential investor's intent to find out more about your company's financials, like your management, your corporate structure, your worth. It's important to reiterate the search queries can be customized to meet specific company needs. However, regardless to the search queries composition, search results in the investor view should be straightforward and informative. This is especially the case with early and mid-stage startups. They are not on a constant, they not always have a lot of content about them. They are constantly on the lookout for outside capital to be invested with them. And while companies may not want to disclose their revenue or sensitive details or financial information, investor views search results should reflect the company's health and showcase their strong fundamentals. It's also a large publicity, it's important for large and publicly listed companies like JP Morgan, who tend to populate naturally, and that will not be the case with startups. But in any of the cases, you want to make a good impression in the eyes of a prospective investor. So leadership, key business metrics, numbers of users and growth rates and so on should always appear in the investor view. And I think this is one of the more important views, like in this case with JP Morgan, where when you go through net worth, it's mostly you have different sources of high media rank that will have information about you, and it will show how well they are performing in this case. So investor view is another important one, but why don't we jump to the employee view for now? Because employer branding is always a very important, right? It's on the top of the mind of most of our clients. How do we get new employees, and how are we seen from the eyes of the potential employees? So while this is loading, just maybe switch to another one. And employee, okay. Let's give it a second, and should be with us shortly. Okay. So employee view covers the main queries people use when they're looking for job opportunities, and search results should direct people to all of the relevant information, which could help drive potential employees to apply for the job. Low score means that the company lacks necessary information related to employment, or contains a bad review on a popular employee review platform like Glassdoor, or maybe some other which is local. JP Morgan is a good example of how to take care of your employee view. The company owns its search results and provides potential employment with every bit of information they might possibly need. First of all, JP Morgan made sure that their people would be able to find the relevant information on their website. Most of that is from their own website, jpmorgan.com. And by doing so, the company creates the frictionless user experience, which in turn allows them to provide only the information they want to provide, without any comparison or competition data. And in cases where the third-party service like Glassdoor or Indeed.com appear, information within website is also well managed and reflects the benefits of working with the company. We have a very high rating in all of these results here. Employee view is the bread and butter for employee marketing strategies. It reflects the effort and shows where companies can set up where can they step up while pinpointing the areas that need improvement. In most of the cases, it's best for the company's interest to have all the necessary information regarding its benefits as an employer on their own website, as well as on their well-ranked job and employer review sites. And if a company is hiring internationally, it's also important to look at the local websites as well. For example, in Lithuania, we have CV Bankas and also CV Online, while Glassdoor is an international standard. However, markets where, some of the markets, there will be local popular services that will require specific attention. And employee view will help identify those sites and track the results of the company efforts to improve their employment profile. So when we look at this one here, it's not where we see something negative. It's a perfect example of employee view, and this profile is ranking highest of all. So now let's go to the most interesting part, and that's a customer view. It also has a score of 55%, so not bad, but we already see some of the negative information happening here. And let me just go maybe to another keyword so we use this keyword like JP Morgan feedback, JP Morgan pricing, JP Morgan reviews and services, and let's go to reviews. So we have this information ready for when we need it. So customer reviews reflects company's effort when dealing with customer reviews and opinions. Reviews and ratings often appear with brands' search engine result pages, and they have a significant impact on brands' reputation. Positive reviews and high ratings can help you build trust and credibility with your potential customers, while negative reviews, on the other hand, will do the opposite and damage your brand's reputation. Usually, review management is one of the trickiest parts for brands. While JP Morgan might not be the case, or maybe not care as much about what their consumers think about this company, probably due to its size and difference in revenue channels. But other companies, especially those who rely on B2C business models, won't have that luxury. And even if in the case JP Morgan can see that Trustpilot ranks high at the top of their search results with the JP Morgan reviews, when we go into this page, and I have it already open, we can see some of the comments that are being mentioned here. And the first one you have is what? This bank simply blocked and stole my money. This bank simply blocked and stole my money, and when I sent to support a small business in Ukraine, man who is suffering from war, however, they look at the commission. They also took a commission for some of compliance check. After a long, hard, and paid by me discussion, they just did not return the money without any stories. And better choose another bank and not this one who steals money from Ukrainian people. Shame. So what do you think about this review? There's nothing good with that, and it's ranking really high, like #1 in Google search result. So strategies to drive positive reviews, can be different, and most of them, they rely on the number of factors, like number of users the company has, user acquisition and retention models, review platform specific, and similar factors to this. Unfortunately, there is no one ring to rule them all method. It has to be adapted to the specific business model and sometimes requires thinking outside of the box. So there are cases that companies can rank high on the review sites with their own web pages, and in this strategy you have to consider, especially facing difficulties to drive customers to leave a review. Brands can use their own website, collect testimonies, and write articles that could cover relevant keywords based on your SEO analysis. However, articles that however, prospective customers tend to rely on a third-party opinion, and they will likely click on a review site, and especially if it's in the first page or at the top of the page. Moreover, pushing websites like Trustpilot out of search result pages can be extremely difficult, even maybe impossible. So this strategy is not ideal, but there is a better way to work on identifying customer happy moments. And once they are found, invite them to leave a review then. It can be done through, various customer retention campaigns over email and maybe in-app messages, push notifications, or through customer support when users seems to be happy with the help they have been provided. We strongly advise against faking reviews. And I cannot stress this enough. No fake reviews. While in some cases it's possible to do it at a low scale and on the platform, but on the platforms like Google Play Store or Apple Store, brands risk to receive permanent bans. Meanwhile, Trustpilot will likely delete all of your good reviews regardless if they were fake or not. It's important to understand that even with relatively small user base, it's possible to drive them to leave reviews, and it's also better not to wait until the negativity accumulates and then start managing the reviews as soon as possible. People rarely leave a positive feedback without incentivization and without an invite. Therefore, review management requires constant effort, and however, once you find the formula, that works for you, it can be automated and, use very little interaction with the actual customer. So work on your reviews and don't leave them hanging. So what else is there? we went through all the profiles in the tool, and I hope it gave you a little bit better understanding how you can tackle different stakeholders and the groups of people individually to look at the search results, to analyze what's there, and come up with a strategy on your reputation management plan, how to get it out of there. What also want to show you is the results that you can have in the Google News section, which in a way mimics popular media monitoring tools. I'll just load this for you. Okay, this one. Yeah, and also shows what are the websites your content is being published at, and also give you all the sorts of articles. So let's say in this case, everything with the tag green new is the content that has not been here last time. So if every week we are doing a new scraping of internet to get the data for you, now you have like another 8 articles that you need to tackle in the next week. So very good solution of coming with ideas, what to do, what's the next step in your online reputation management. So I want to finish with the demo now and just give you a quick final ideas about online reputation management. So what are your quick wins? How do you improve your own reputation? First of all, use your website. Go into the social media or websites with high authority like Wikipedia and put the information there. Change the misleading information there. Control your narrative. So when you have a narrative that you're using, make sure that narrative corresponds on all the channels that you own, and also work on your campaigns. So the campaigns should be sending the signal that your website or online content is sending as well. So when people look for information about you and the noise that has been created, they are going to be eager to find you. How do you plan? Once you get started with RepSense, we'll give you analysis of what's out there and give you an idea how you can improve your reputation and what other pain points are. It's going to take you about a month to 2 months to get ready to claim your assets, to make sure you put information out there, and then weekly runs will show you the change of index and the change of your reputation index and how these improvements are working. By the time you're done, you will have control of your all search results, and the data is going to be engineered by you. How RepSense works, we try to do it by hand. We try to do an evaluation for the sentiment analysis and how long would it take. And since there are up to 7,500 data points that you need to analyze for a company which has 6 profiles and works in 5 countries, we've calculated that one human needs to work 12 weeks to get that to get this job done. So I think it's a very good example how you can save a lot of money with the competitive pricing model that we have. And let me remind you that there are 4 products that we're currently selling from our algorithm. First of all, the metric of share of search that shows how many people are searching for you, for the category and for your brand in that category. We're also analyzing the discovery view to show you how people come to your website for the first time when they don't know your brand, when they look for the industry keywords, and are you there? Are you visible next to your competitors? We're also calculating RepSense index that we spoke a lot today. And that's a number that shows how your online reputation works and gives you an idea whether it's increasing or decreasing. And to make this data more interesting, we are generating insights for you. So we have a very good actionable plan what to do next to improve your online reputation. So join us, test the tool, book a demo, and then with 190 euros for the starter pack, we have a very good solution, that you can start analyzing your online reputation and improving it. And for those who are watching this seminar, please mention when you book a demo today, because up until the end of next month, so up until the end of May, we have a campaign right now that we're not gonna charge you a setup fee, and we're gonna cut 100 euros of your first order for the first 6 months whenever you book a demo this month. So thank you very much for your attention, and join us at RepSense. Take control of your online reputation, and come back Wednesdays and Thursdays to our YouTube channel to learn more how you could take control of your online presence. Thank you very much. My name was Domas, and I will be here again next week. Cheers.